Hi, my name is Suman. Welcome to Code and Play. Last class or last video, I showed you this idea, right? The name that I'm going to make and the things that I'm going to add into this. So, in this, I added some information here and there. But the thing is, in this game, um, I added a lot of things, right? I said I'm going to capture the nodes, unlock business nodes, earn money, and all that. So today, uh, we are going to start coding this. Okay, the last class or the last video, I showed you how to like add your mobile phone in USB debugging mode into your Unity. This video, I'm going to show you how do we start with this, the stats concept. Okay, why stats specifically? Because if you see here, the objective of this game is to capture these nodes, right? These nodes can be captured by fulfilling requirements. There will be requirements. What requirements do we have? Let's say the requirement to capture the level 1 node, okay, is like you need to have a certain amount of damage. Then you need to like finish a specific mission. Then you need to also like defeat a few enemies. Like you must have a few like fights finished, fights done. Okay, so like that, there are some requirements. So based on these levels, the requirements will change. Higher levels will have better, like stronger requirements, which needs to grind, which you have to grind for some time. The lower levels are easy to capture. Okay, and since this is a kind of management sim, I'm thinking to add little bit more, like this crew management, which I wrote something here like this. What is this? What the thing is, um, as I said, to fulfill the requirements, you need to have a specific amount of stats. You need to like finish a specific amount of fights. You also need to um, like buy a specific amount of item or finish a mission, like that. So these requirements need you to focus on your gang. Okay, so the gang members are like this. For example, this Charlie, Serene, Bob, and so and so. So you can recruit these people. Sorry, you can recruit these people. These are actually NPCs. Okay, the game that I am taking inspiration from, there they used real people. Since this is a like online game, and many people used to play back then. It was in 2000, like 9, 10, 11, so and so, like that. So back then people used to play this game, and in this game you can like chat with people, you can form parties, you can form groups, clans, and all that. So back then most of the gang members are actually people just playing normal, like social media games. You can see nowadays in Facebook, or Discord also is trying to like thinking of adding some community games like that. So you can understand what kind of games the mobile wars was back then. The same things. Okay, so back then these are real people. They have a specific amount of stats, just like we have a player here who has a stats like this. So these people also will have stats. You can able to recruit them, and once they are in your team, your gang will grow, and with that your stats will also grow, and with that you can also capture more and more territories. This was the concept. So here, since this is a single player game, I'm not talking about adding multiplayer or anything, so I'm just going to make them as AI. Okay, just a normal AI concept, where Charlie, Serene, Bob, these people are just AIs. I'm going to spawn them randomly, and they will be spawned with a different amount of stats. Once you recruit them, they will be stored in your list. There will be a list of gang members in player class. Once you recruit them, they will be in your list. And what I'm thinking here is, for example, if you want to capture the level 1 node, you need 25 damage. Okay, you need 25 damage. So you already have 20 damage. So you need to either recruit these two people to fulfill that criteria, or you can also just recruit one person to fulfill the criteria. It's up to your choice. If you want two people, maybe in the future you might need more health, so you need two people, or you just think like, okay, just buy one and that will be enough, so you can just buy one. Okay, it's completely up to your choice. So depending on the requirements, you can like requirements for level 1, level 2 and level 3. So depending on these requirements, you can choose the gang members and your gang's stats will increase. Okay, how to increase your stats? So your stats will be increased by buying items like these. Okay, you can increase your stats by buying items. So if you want to increase your stats, you have to buy items, and if you want to increase your gang stats, you have to recruit these people. Okay, so combinedly your stats will be combined, and the final result will be used as the criteria for these levels. Not just stats, I'm also thinking about fights. For example, you are fighting NPCs, so their gang versus your gang. So there will be like turn-based combat. There will be turn-based combat where you will be having 3 options. Every turn you can either attack or defend or use a tactic. What tactic? The tactic is dependent on the leader. So for example, that there is a tactic like throw money at the opponent. So if you throw money at the opponent, some gang members will leave from their gang. Okay, that way their stats will go down and your stats will stay same. So for example, you are fighting with another gang. So this is gang 1, your gang, and this is gang 2, the rival gang. The gang 1 damage is 50, whereas the rival gang's damage is, let's say, 60. Okay, you used a tactic called throw money, and 2 of the people left from the gang. So now your damage will be 50, that's constant, but their damage, maybe it went down to 45. So now you have an advantage. Understand? So this is kind of like fighting tactics. So you can fight like raw damage, or you can also use tactics. There are a lot of tactics I'm going to add into the game, don't worry. I'm just thinking of all these things, and I'm going to like create a system for that will be another video. But for now, all of this is based on stats, right? Increasing stats, managing the gangs, and everything based on stats. So this is why I'm going to start the program with this stats concept. Okay, so let's create a new script here. So in this, I'm going to start with a stats concept. So what stats do we need? I'm going to make it simple. I need damage, defense, and max health. Okay, health and max health. Health is to show the current health, and max health to show the maximum health. Player will also have energy and currency, because you're going to earn money, so you have currency and energy both. So these 3 are the commonly used stats for player as well as the gang members, crew members. So instead of creating like this, instead of creating player class and then declaring like int damage, int defense and all that, and again I say crew, I create another class and again say int damage or int defense. Instead of creating like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group these things into a class. Okay, I'm going to make a stats class. This stats class will have both int damage and int defense and maximum health and whatever stats you have in the game. So this stats class will now be used here as a stats object as well as here. So what is it? Why is it going to be used like this? So this way I can easily call the stats like this: player dot stats dot damage. So this means the stats of the player. Okay, so the stats dot damage means the damage from the stats class that depends to that like depends on the player. So player dot stats dot damage. And if you want to go for crew, so crew will be a list of members, as I said. So you can go for 0.stats.damage. Okay, or if you want like show all the crew members, you can just use a loop, crew of i.stat.damage. So you can do this kind of way. So by using a single class, I can also like decrease the amount of code. Okay, so let's see this. First of all, last time I showed you how to create this what you call this USB debugging and all that, right? So I can keep using this sample scene, or I can also make a new scene. So let's make a new scene. First of all, go to the scenes folder, right click here and create a new scene. Name it main scene. So this will be our main scene, this will be our scene. Yeah, and in this we have main camera. This is main camera. This is still linked with simulator, so it is looking like this. All right, so let's save this. Right, it is saved. Okay, so first of all, script. Let's create a new folder here. Scripts. Okay, one advice for you all: when you are creating anything, this you see this at the bottom, right? This assets folder view. So when whatever you are creating, when you are creating a game or like anything in the Unity, always try to keep it organized, because as you create more and more games, you will learn that it gets messy, and there are so many files like this, universal RP render pipeline and default volume profile. So these files will be like sometimes get mixed up and you might delete them, which is not good, not recommended. That's why try to organize them as much as possible. Okay, I know some people are very lazy and they just create the files here itself, like right click here and create scripts and create the scripts here. Don't do that. Try to keep your code as organized as possible. It will help you in the long run. Maybe you are not feeling like the actual need for doing this, but maybe in after 1 month or 2 months time, when you go back to seeing this program, you will understand what you are doing and what is I mean how much you have progressed. Okay, if you keep it organized, you can easily get back to the program easily without getting any confusion. Okay, so try to organize it as much as possible. Now in the scripts folder, I'm going to create a script. So here we have a very interesting thing. We have 3 types of scripts: mono behavior, scriptable object, and empty C# script. So what are these 3? Let me explain to you what these 3 are. In Unity, we have 3 types of scripts: mono behavior script, scriptable object, and empty C#, or basically a C# class. Okay, so what these 3 scripts are? First of all, let's start with mono behavior. Mono behavior basically means that you can use this script, or you can link this script onto game objects. Let me show you that. For example, here I created a game object like this 2D object here, sprites. Let's say triangle. Okay, so this is the triangle that is on the screen. You can see it here, this triangle. Okay, so this triangle is in the game view. Maybe this is the player, maybe this is the player, and the way that it is like showing upwards, downwards, I can just rotate the triangle up and down. I can like let's wait. Yeah, I can flip this triangle. For example, I want to show that player is moving down, so I can show like this. The player is going down, or the player is going left, or right, the player is going right. So this way I can just flip the triangle and I can show the player's direction, right? So this is the game object. Now I said I can move the player and flip it. How do I do that? So for that we need mono behavior. So this is why we need let's say go to the triangle. At the bottom you have add component, and in this you have scripts. So new script, if you click new script, it will create a mono behavior class or a mono behavior script which will attach itself directly to the triangle. This is a game object. Okay, a mono behavior script is attached to the game object. Any game object, you can use prefab, you can use a, let's say, a physics material, you can use a lot of things. So you can attach this script to any game object in the Unity. Okay, this script can be attached to any game object in Unity. This is mono behavior script. So if you want to add any movement or let's say physics simulation or any runtime, anything like that. So if you want to add a script to a game object, you use mono behavior script. The second one is a scriptable object. What is this? If you remember the video that I created in the Unity series, make a game from prototype, I said scriptable objects are objects that carry data. So this is a script that creates objects to carry or slash hold, carry or hold, you can use any terminology, hold data. So this script will create objects that hold data. For example, you want to create items like weapons. Let's say you are creating a game like Call of Duty or PUBG, where you want to show weapons like guns, SMG, LMG, Uzi and all that. So whenever you want to create those, you need to have a data, an object that holds the data. So the number of bullets, number of the distance the gun can shoot, and a lot of things. Like if you go for RPG elements, you can create weapons like staffs, swords, or anything like spells, all that. So you can create objects from this script that can hold data. Okay, so this is a scriptable object. The previous one is a mono behavior that will attach itself to a game object. This one doesn't attach, this will create object. Okay, this last one is an empty C#. What is this? This is a simple C# class that can be used to let's say, what do we use this for? This is for use it to I know what it is used for, but I can't say it. I don't know how to say it. So basically let's say you have some public variables that you want to share between classes. Okay, let's say you have a public variable that you want to share for both mono behavior as well as scriptable object. In that case, we use C# class. So how do you explain this? It is used to share data between other scripts, between classes. Is that the way? Because this is what it does. It is used to share data. Like just now I said, script. This is an empty C#. This is an empty C# class. This stats can be shared between two classes. Okay, if you decide to show the player as an object or the crew as an object, both of them can have stats object or stats class object. Okay, so this is how we use this empty C# class. This is a simple C# class that can be used to share data between classes. As we learn more and more, we will understand how to use this, but this is it for now. Okay, so these are the things. First of all, we need a stats class. So let's create a stats class. As I said, this is an empty C# class. So let's create an empty C# class. I don't need this. Okay, create scripting empty C# class. This will be stats. And those who are from Java, if you are watching this video and if you know how to code in Java, well, you will be very familiar with this script because C# and Java are very similar, kind of similar. Okay, and what if you are from C++? Well, this is also similar to C++. You can also just think like this is a C with more advanced scenario. You can just think like this. C++ is the starting, is the language where you start with object-oriented programming, and C# is similar to C++ but little bit more classes, more packages. That's all. Okay, so let's start with this. So this is our empty C# script. It has nothing. There is no extends here. Basically, in mono behavior, you will have extends. Extends mono behavior. Right now we can't use this. It's still updating. Is it updating or is it ready? Can't say. Can't use any of this. All right. Let's move on then. Okay, so public class stats. This class will have public int damage, public int defense, and public int health, comma, max health. I am from Java, so I am writing these variables in a Java notation. In Java, it has camel case. So the first starting variable, sorry, the first letter of the variable is always small in Java. So if I am doing any mistakes, this is all from Java. There is no mistake in this. This is just a way to show in Java. Okay. In C# we don't write like this. We write like this. We always use capital cases in the first letter. In Java it is different. We always use small case in the first letter and then we continue with capital cases. It is like this. Example. So if you want to say this is a variable name. Okay, so if you say like this means this is a variable name in Java, whereas in C#, T capital, this is a variable name. This is how we different. This is the only difference in Java and C#. Okay, there is no problem in using this kind of scenario, but the C# people, the people who learn C# script, they might get confused. This is the only thing, nothing else. Okay, so we have damage, defense, health, and max health. Now, what if I want to use specific like default stats? let's say every player, if I don't give any stats, they spawn with the default stats. So how to do that? So to do that, we do this in constructor. We do it like this: public stats constructor int damage equal to 0. This is a default value. I don't know if you know this in Java, but in C++ we have this default values. We can declare the variable directly in the parameters with a value, and if the value is changed, for example, I said in other classes I said new stats damage equal to 10. In that case, this 10 will be replacing this 0. If I don't give this number, if I just say new stats, that means the damage is 0. This is how it is. Okay, this is called default values. Next, int defense equal to 0 and int health equal to 0. Why I am giving this? Because I want to avoid null values. There are null values in this. If you remember in Java also, whenever you say public int damage, public int defense, you have null values. So I just want to like avoid null values. Or I can also give some default values. For example, I said 5 damage and 2 defense and 100 health. I can start with this. So every player starts with this. Okay, or every crew member, if I spawn them and I forgot to give them any stats, they start with the same stats. This is how you can give default values. Okay, next, let's assign these values to the class variables. This dot damage equal to damage. This dot damage basically means this, the upper one, and damage is the parameter. If you don't like this, you can also give a different name. Let's say DMG, and then we can just give DMG here. We don't need this in that case. Damage equal to DMG, because both are different names. If both are using same names, then it will be a problem. And in this case, you also have to use the same thing. So when you say new stats, you have to say DMG equal to 10. This will be problematic in the future. So if you don't use the actual name, it will be a problematic for you to understand which one is what. Okay, this is why we use this dot damage equal to damage. Okay, this dot defense equal to defense, and this dot max health equal to health, and this dot health equal to this dot max health. Okay, so first of all I set the max health and then I set the health. I can also do it this way. If I want to do it, I can also do it this way. This dot health equal to this dot max health equal to health. So what happens is, first the health variable will go into max health. This will be assigned to the health. So this is a this way it goes in this way. Okay, it starts with the semicolon and it goes this way. Next, player also has energy, so I'm going to give energy as well. Energy, comma, max energy. So initially the energy will be 0. Every player, every crew member will also have energy, but they have energy 0. Energy equal to 0. So what I'll say is this dot energy equal to this dot max energy equal to energy. Energy. Okay, so this is our stats class. So this class is a empty C# script or a C# class, basically C# class. This class will be used in other classes, can be shared with other classes. Okay, I am going to write a variable. Actually, this is a function called toString. ToString basically is a function which is available in C# itself. This is a already C. ToString hides inherited object. To make the current member override that implementation, add a override keyword. So just add a override keyword on top, @override. Can I use like this? Public override void ToString. Okay, this is not void, this is string. Yeah, returns a value. Yes. So return this. Is it working? Yeah, it's working. So ToString basically is a function that can convert any object into a string. If I don't override this, what I will get is the stats object. Okay, the stats object where it is created in the memory, that object location will be converted into string. So if I, for example, say stats s equal to new stats, okay, since there are default values, so I don't give anything here. Now if I say s dot ToString s, or let's give like this, st dot ToString. Now what happens is, what you will get here is, you will get the location like hashtag 0b AEF, something like this. So you get this number. What is this number? This is a hex code for the location of the stats object. Okay, if you say ToString. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to override this, and I'm going to show what will happen when I say ToString. Instead of this, now I'm going to show like this. Damage, whatever the damage is there, like 5, comma, defense, the defense is 2 here, comma, health is 100. So this is what I want in the output. So to do that, I'm going to show it here like this. We can write it in the Java way. We can use string format. Let's try string format. Oh, we have to use a builder, I think. Yeah, I have to use a builder again. That will be a long string. Let's just write normally. Okay, damage, this dot damage. Next class I'm going to show, I'm going to write clean this up. Okay, don't worry, I will clean the code as we go forward. So for this, just bear with me. Health, this dot health. Right, so this is what we will see in the ToString when I say ToString. Okay, now how do we print this? Well, we can print this by creating an object. So let's go back to our Unity. Let's load this first. How long is this video? 30 minutes. Okay. 30 minutes. It's just 30 minutes. Time flies like that. Okay. Is it done? Okay, it's done. So here I'm going to create an empty object. This is an empty object. This is just an empty object, nothing else. And I'm going to create a mono behavior. I told you, create a mono behavior. So first of all, write the mono behavior class here. So create scripting mono behavior script. The script name is demo1. This is just a demo script. There is nothing in this. Okay, it's just to print. So go to the game object, add this demo1 directly into this, drop this here. Cannot be found. Oh, it's still updating. Yeah, it's still compiling here at the bottom. You can see. Still compiling scripts. Okay, done. Let's go to game object, drag this here, and the script is ready. So let's open this script. So this is a mono behavior. You can see mono behavior script. So mono behaviors can be dragged onto the object. Now here I'm going to create a stats class object. Stats st equal to new stats. So if I don't give anything, let's see what happens. I'm going to say debug.log st dot toString. Okay, so I said toString. I already overridden it here. So let's see what will happen here. So now when I start this, when I save this and start this, it will be simplified. Yeah, I can do that later. Okay, so when we start this script, you will see a output at the bottom. So always remember this distinctions between three different scripts. Mono behavior can be attached to any game object. Scriptable objects create objects. Okay, this script create objects, whereas C# class is a like it can be used to share data. You can also do a lot of things with empty C# classes, but sharing data is the least thing that it can do. Okay, so as soon as I start this, there will be an output. Let's see if we can actually print this. Yeah, there is an output. The first one is showing up because there is a Unity remote requirement because I didn't connect my phone. So it is showing up like that. Ignore it. We don't need that. So the second one is what we need. Damage 5, defense 2, health 100. Okay, as I said, we are showing the stats. Now, what if I try to modify it? What if I say stats defense? Okay, defense equal to, defense colon, let's say 10. Okay, what if I do this way? And for this we need like this, defense equal to 10. So what is this bracket change? I'll explain that, don't worry. This is a very interesting thing. I'll explain that. So for now, defense equal to 10. So previously it was 5 or 2 something. Now it will change. Okay, so previously it was 5, 3 something. Now it will be 5, 10, 100 because I gave 10 here. Now I'm running backend. Okay, so if you see here, previously I gave defense equal to 2. This time I gave defense equal to 10. So let's see if it overrides. Okay, when I play this, it should override. Okay, 5, 10, 100. So it overrided. What if I just want to add to the previous defense? What if I just want to add it instead of changing like this? What if I just want to add it? Just add plus, or you can also give defense. Defense equal to 10, or instead of this, we can say like normally we can say like st dot defense plus equal to 10. So whatever the defense you have, it will be added and it will be shown in the string. Let's see this as well. Save and loads. Okay, is it ready? This loading is taking too much time. Okay, here it is. So defense plus 12. Why plus 12? Previously I said we have 2, so plus equal to 10 means 12. This is why I said we can use this 2 string to show the defense damage and everything. Okay, so now I used a very interesting bracket which is very different in C#. This is a concept of C#. So whenever you say stats or new stats like this is different, and new stats, this is different. Okay, so what is the difference between this and this? Well, this is a object initializer, whereas this is a function definition or function call. Okay, what is the difference? The difference is in a normal programming, you can use any of this. It doesn't matter. If you want to use this, we can say, let's say x equal to 10 and y equal to 20. You can use like this. But in here, you have to say x 10 and y colon 20. Let me show you this. So if I go here and if I say damage equal to 10, there is an error. What is this error? The error is saying like this: the name damage doesn't exist. So what if I use colon? Suddenly the error is gone. Now the damage is int 5, now it is 10. Understand? So this is the difference. What if I use this instead of the normal one? Now it will say the damage doesn't exist. So if I use equal to, now it will exist. So this is the difference. Okay, so the difference here is this one creates objects, whereas this one is just function. But in this case, you can say new stats and new stats both are object creations. Yes, both are object creations, but there's a difference. The difference here is this one is this one is not calling constructor. This is just an object creation. This one calls the constructor. If you see here, if you see the difference in this code, let me show you that. Magnify. So I will show you the error messages. Look at the error messages carefully. Okay, this is stats.damage. Here it is identifying the damage as a part of the class. Okay, it is identifying damage as a part of the class or data member. If you remember OOPS concepts in Java or C++, object-oriented programming structure, where they explain what are data members, how it is linked to the class. So if you define a class and you define variables inside it, those variables will be the class members or data members. They carry data about the class. In this case, damage is the data member of stats class. This is not function variable. This is a class variable. Okay, what I'm saying is that this damage is not from this one. The damage that I'm seeing here, this damage, this is not from the function. It is from the class data member. That means this public int damage. See, stats.damage. So when you declare any variable like this with these brackets, remember that you are actually modifying the class variables, not the function variables. Okay, whereas if you declare the variables like this, damage colon 10, now this is a function parameter. Understand, this is a parameter, not a class variable. That's the difference. So if you declare the stats like this, stats st s2 equal to new stats, okay, damage colon 10, sorry, damage equal to 10. So in this case, this is a class variable. This case, this is a function variable. That's the difference. As I said, this one creates objects, whereas this one just calls a function. This is calling the constructor, not creating the object. It is calling constructor. Whereas this one, it creates the object and directly modifies the variable in the class. I hope you understand. If you are unable to grasp this concept, please write in the comments. I'll explain to you again. I'll make a new video for this. The distinction is very different. That the things are very like minute differences, but they affect a lot. Okay, in the next programs, I'm going to use these brackets. So it should be clear for you so that you don't get confused. This one, the brackets in curly braces, the data that you are passing in these curly braces are directly influencing the class variables. If there is a list, for example, there is a list here, like let's say I don't have any list here, for but example, list 1 equal to, I said like this, 10, 20, 30. So in this case, what I'm doing here is I'm not passing it as a parameter. I am directly passing the value to the list of the class itself. Okay, the list in the class directly will have these objects. So if I go back to stats class and I create a array here like int list 1. Okay, now you will see the list 1 okay. Did I give public? No, these are private by default, so always give public. Okay, by default it is private, so give public by default. So okay, now you can see these are accessible from the list. So this is stats1.stats.list1. So directly it is accessing the class variable. If you see here, I didn't give list in the constructor. There is no list in constructor. The constructor only has damage, defense, health, and energy. But the class has list1. This is why if you give the same syntax in the constructor, it will show error. For example, list1 equal to, I said 4, 5, 6. Now you will see error here. Why? because it doesn't belong to the constructor, it only belongs to the class. That's the difference. So this brackets are different, these brackets are different. Okay, so this one initializes the class variables, whereas this one initializes the function variables or constructor variables. Constructor is a function, so function variables. Understand? That's the difference. So I hope you understand this concept. This is a little bit confusing for people who are new to this concept, but once you start doing programming in C#, you get the grasp, you get the like total output of this. It is very easy, it is not too hard to understand, just you need practice. Okay, the more you practice this, the more you understand. Now back to the concept. I showed you the toString, how to override a toString method, and you can also show the stats directly on the screen. So there is a difference between mono behavior and normal C# class. The C# class is this, whereas the mono behavior can be attached to the game object. So these are the things that you need to know. Programming in C# is similar to Java, but little bit different. Why? Because C# takes inspiration from C++. So there are some things that Java doesn't have and C++ have, whereas some things that C++ doesn't have but Java have. So there are some concepts from here and there. Okay, it is not too complicated, but you have to understand that the more you code, the more you learn. Okay, next. Fine, stats is done. What next? Player and crew. Let's create a player class and crew class. For now, I'm going to create a mono behavior class. Maybe in the next classes I'll start making some different things. So this is the difference between the brackets that you see in the class. The brackets here, they are, you can say, modifying or accessing class variables or data members. Class variables or data members. Data members basically carry data in the class. Okay, whereas this one accessing function parameters. Function basically, function means methods. You can say constructor is a function, so I'm calling the function directly from the code. This is the difference. Okay, project. In this, I'm going to create a mono behavior class called player. Mono behavior because I want to add this class to a object, game object. So this is why. In the mono behavior class, I'm going to call the stats and I'm going to assign the stats of the player directly in the mono behavior. So now you might have a question. When we have this, why do we need to use this? Right? You can directly access the class members. Right? So why do we need to use a constructor in that case? Well, as I said, this is public variables. You are directly accessing the class from another class. This is public sharing. This is not a good way to access variables. Understand? So in case of data leaks happen because of these kind of codes. So it can directly access the class variable into another class. This can leak the data. You can also access a class variable if it is public. So in this case, anywhere you can say stats obj dot damage, or you can say x, and it will directly access the class variable x. So you can either print this, or you can also change the code from a cheat. Okay, this is how you mod the games. By modding the game, it means you are accessing the variables and you can cheat them or add them or control them from your code. So this is why it is not a good practice to use public variables everywhere, and for that reason we are using constructors. Okay, this way you cannot access the class variables, you can only access the function parameters. Function parameters are different, class parameters are different. So class variable may be different name. Let's say we have a class variable here called n and this one called m, and function parameters are like this, x and y. So if you try to access the x variable, you will only get the parameter from the function. But if you want to access the class variable, since they are private, you cannot access them. Okay, so this way you can actually create encapsulations or privacy protection, all that, right? So this is why you need constructors. In case if you have any vulnerable data that you want to protect, you can declare them as private, and to access them you need function variables, function parameters, like this. Okay, so this is why we have two types of syntaxes. If you don't like, if you don't mind sharing the variables directly, you can access them, or if you mind sharing the variables, then access through parameters. Understood? That is the difference. Now in Java we don't have this functionality. We always go through constructors and function parameters. We cannot directly access the variables unless the variable is declared as public, and even then we cannot access it like this. We also always have to use the constructors. Okay, fine. So in this player we have stats. So the player will have public name, sorry, string name, public stats, and anything else, public int cache, I think, right? So here what I'm going to do is, as soon as we start, I'm just giving a name equal to my name, Suman, stats equal to new stats, and here I said if you want to access the public variable, directly access it like this, or if you want to go through constructor, you can also go to constructor. It's up to you. I'm going through constructor because I'm more familiar with that concept, so I'm going to use constructors. Damage equal to, sorry, damage colon, by default the player will have default stats, so I don't want to add anything. I just want to say new stats, cache equal to $100 or just 100. Okay, so this is the starting things that we need in the variable. Now when I load this class into a game object, I want to display this information on the UI. UI is here. Come on, it's still loading. This destroys the flow, man. It's really frustrating. Is it done? Not done. Okay, it is done. I hope so. Yeah, so here I'm going to create a canvas. Last time I showed you how to create a canvas. Go to UI, canvas, and we have the canvas. So this canvas is our main view. So go down, change the pixel with screen size. What is it? 1080 by 1920, and this one is 0.5. Right? So once we do that, double click on the canvas and we can see the canvas. Now in the simulator the canvas is ready. So I want to add a object. Let's say I want to add an object here, empty object, just an empty object, player object. So this empty object will have some components like where is this text mesh pro text component. Yeah, so this text component will show the name. So this is name, player name. Control D will create a copy of this. Control D. This one will be the stats, where we show the stats. So stats text. Okay, then Control D, another one. The last one is cache text. Right. So player name, stats text, cache text. All of these three are in the same position. That's why we can't see anything. So let's add some things here. First of all, I'm going to add a panel inside this player component. It is this panel. So I'm going to add a panel. The player object is very small, 100 by 100. Let's expand it. Let's stretch it out. So Shift Alt click, and it is now stretched to the entire system. So if you see scene, player object, yeah, now it's stretched to the entire screen. In the player name, okay, the panel is here. The player name, stats text, and the cache text, all three of them will be inside the panel. Just drag them and drop them so they are in the panel. Okay, so in this panel I'm going to add a layout, vertical layout group. So once I add this, I can create a middle center. They will be in the middle center. You can see the first one, second one, and third one. Okay, they are already very like added in order. This is not the correct way, but I'm just showing you how to like show these things. So let's make them bigger. 70 bold. Okay, and this one also 500. Let's add this. Let's make them big. Let's make them bigger. Control child width, height, no need. Okay, go to the player name, center it, alignment center. Okay, and height is 50. Let's give 150. That's big. 100. Right, now you can see player name, that will be the player name. Next, stats text, similar. I'm going to give it a little bit more height to 500. Okay, next go down, add 70. Bold, no need bold. Alignment center, middle, and that's it. Cache text, going to add a little bit bigger, like 70, 100. Okay, 200. Right, and this one is also 70. This one is also alignment center. Nice. So this is our simulator. In this you can see the text, stats, and the cache. Now let's add them. Let's display these things from our player. So the player class already has stats here, right? So how do we display these stats into the UI? So we have two ways. We can do it in two different ways. First way is through runtime. We can like load everything through runtime. Let's decrease this. Let's make it 0. This way you can see that was the alpha. So this is the RGB and alpha. Alpha is the transparency, how transparent it is. Okay, I just said 0. Now, as I said, to display stats on a UI, you have two ways. First way is through runtime. The second way is through static assignment. What is this two different things? Through runtime and through static assignment. What do I mean by that? So we can link objects in script in two ways at runtime. What do I mean by this? Let's say I dragged this panel. Okay, let's say I have a object here called public game object p1. That's it. Oh, this is already defined. Okay, player name. Done. All right, so what did I say? Public game object p1. So what is going to happen here is I'm going to have a game object. Let it load first. Let it load. I'll show you. Okay, yeah, so the player object is here. Let's drag this script onto the player object like this. So I dragged it here. As you can see, the cache is 0, the player name is nothing, and the p1 is none. Okay, don't worry about the player name and cache. They will be assigned on runtime. So at runtime they will be showing Suman and 100, but p1 is what we are going to see. So what is this p1? I can use this object to drag this panel onto this object. Let me show you. So drag this panel directly here. So this is the game object. What did I do? I dragged this panel into the player object. So now this script here is linked to the panel itself. Why did I do that? To assign or to link objects at runtime. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the script and I'm going to say p1 dot get components from parent, from children. Okay, so get components from children. Components, if you see here I said s. There is a difference. There are function called component and components. So component means single component, s means multiple components. So what is this going to do? It is going to give me an array. Okay, this line is going to give me an array. So I'm going to give that game object, let's say obj equal to get components from children. So what do I mean by this? Get components from children. It means whatever the p1 object means panel, whatever the panel is holding, get those game objects. And now I say object of 0 dot text. So since this is a text, so object of 0 dot text equal to player name. What player name I have? I said player name. So I just say player name dot toString. Okay, then we have stats. So object obj1 dot text equal to, I will say stats st dot toString. I already printed the string, so I just add the toString into the st1. If I say obj of 2 dot text equal to cache dot toString. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding these variables, these values at runtime. So when I press play, all of this will get populated. This is one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is just dragging each and every component into the player object, just like I did here. I have to drag each and every component into the player object and assign them directly from the code itself. So instead of runtime, I'm doing it in a static way. That is a more easiest and fastest way to execute. This way is good. This way is also fast. The problem here is if you change this order. For example, you showed this design to the game designer and he said, or she said, whatever they are, they said cache should be at the top. Now you just change the order. So when you change the order, you also have to change the code. This is extra burden now. So you also have to go back and change the code and again change the order and change the code. So there will be design issues, there will be programming issues, there will be bugs and a lot of things you have to take care of. So this thing is not feasible, is not manageable. Although it is good, it is not manageable. If you are sure that this is the order that is going to show, then it is fine. If you are not sure, if your design is not complete, then this code will create problems. So the best approach is to assign the variables statically or drag them directly into your player object and execute the code. Okay, I will use this method in the next episode or in the next video, but this one is very simple. So I'm going to just drag everything into the player object and I'm going to execute the program. Let me show you that. So instead of p1, I will say, yeah, p1, but this one is not game object. This is the text mesh pro text mesh pro object. So how we use that? tm pro underscore text. So this is the object that I'm going to use, and this object must be imported using tm pro. Okay, what is the problem here? tm pro tmp underscore text. Okay, tmp underscore text, fine. So this is p1, this is p2, this is p3. So I now have 3 text mesh pro objects. So instead of using panel, now I'm going to drag each and every component into the player object and I'm going to assign them manually. Yeah, I also found out the problem with safe area. In the last video, I was talking about safe area and why it is not working. In the next video, I'm going to show it. This video is already long enough. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to adjust this UI into a safe area. Okay. For now, just see how we connect the code into the UI. So now you can see here 3 different things. So text mesh pro objects, the player name is here, the stats text is here, and the cache text is here. So these 3 are statically linked. What do I mean by static link? Which it means now even if you change the order, for example, this cache text goes first, it doesn't matter now. Previously I said if you change the order here, you also have to change the order in this case. Now it is not, now 0 is not player name. Player name is at 1, string is at 2, and this is at 0. So you have to change each and every indexes. This is the problem with this, understand? So right now this is, I'm going to use this code, but not now. I'll use in the next episodes. So this one is like this. So even if I change the order, since they are linked directly statically from here, wherever the player name is, it will change in the code, I mean in the UI. So it doesn't matter where the player name is located, whether it is at the bottom or first or last, it doesn't matter. It will only affect the player name. This is called static assignment. Okay, this is most easiest way, and you can use it for everything, for any project, not just UI. You can also use it for game objects. It is very easy to use. Just declare a object here and use it. More of this, if you want to learn more about this, there are so many tutorials and so many videos, you can watch them. Okay, the more you, as I said, the more you learn, the more you can gain experience. So keep practicing, keep learning. That's it. Okay, so let's execute this and we'll see how to call this function and how to execute this function. So first of all, I already have P1. I already have this P1, P2, P3, and I already gave here some data like this. So what do? I say P1.text equal to player name dot or since it is by default string, so we don't have to give any toString. P2.text equal to stats dot toString. Okay, P3.text equal to, P3 is cache, so I moved the cache to the top of the screen. Now it doesn't matter, since it is already assigned, it doesn't matter where it is. So I'll say cache dot toString. Okay, so now when I start the code, it will assign automatically. You will see it. So let's load this. If you have any problems with any of this code or any of the procedure that I'm doing, you can comment in the comment section and I will make a separate video explaining those things. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Yes, it's okay. Here it is. Damage 5, defense 2, health 100, summon and cache 100. You can see the cache is on top. Okay, if I go down, there is the player name, there is the stats. Fine. So the stats text, the player name and the cache text, and in the object you already have this values. Now what if I change the order? What if I push the stats on top and player name on bottom? What if this way? Let's see now. So I change the order again. Let's see if it changes the code. Okay, the stats on top, next is cache, and finally we have summon. So stats, cache and player name, they are all linked together. They are completely like this. Okay, so it doesn't matter where they are on the screen, it doesn't matter. Once you drag them into your player object, they are linked continuously. So it doesn't matter which place they are or how far they are from each other or where they are, which order it is, it will still execute. So this is how you can show your stats onto UI. Okay, so you have a stats class and you have a UI class. So the UI is basically mono behavior and the stats is just an empty C# class. In this you have all the data, and in this you are just displaying it, nothing else. Okay, the same way you can also create crew like NPC data. Okay, you can also create another class called NPC class with mono behavior class, and you can use the same things, right? So this is for today, and this is not the perfect way of doing anything. This is just to show you how to link a stats class to a UI class, and how the code is linked together with the UI that you are seeing, how to show anything onto the UI and all that. This is just to explain to you this concept. This is not the like final way of doing it. Okay, as we progress in this project, I will show you a lot of things like these, okay, these are very important things you should learn when you are working with Unity. In Unity there are a lot of different things that than other programming languages. For example, you are from Python. In Python we don't have these brackets or anything. We just have a simple method and execute, that's it. That is a different kind of project. So if you are from Python, you can like use, I think, Godot. Godot is a kind of similar to Python script. C++ is kind of GML script, game maker language, or we also have Cocos 2D. If you have if you anybody know, Cocos is kind of a like a mobile platform, is used for mobile development, mobile application development. Cocos 2D is there. We also have Unreal Engine, that is the biggest game engine right now after Unity. Or you also have RPG Maker. So if you are into JavaScript, you can go for RPG Maker or Phaser. So there are different kinds of scripting languages and different kinds of game engines for each scripting language. Okay, this one is C#, so you have to learn these things when you're working with Unity. It is not mandatory, but it will be useful if you are using these things. As I said, you can just use constructors. This part is not mandatory. Like, knowing this thing is not mandatory. Many of the people who work with Unity, they might not know this concept, this difference, but it will be helpful if you know it. Okay, maybe in future, maybe at some point you want this kind of syntax, and maybe you like it. Maybe you want to use JSON. Anybody know JSON? If you want to use JSON, or if you want to use if you want to work with collection classes, then you can use this syntax. Okay, so it is not like you don't need this or you don't need that. It is like, if you learn it, it will be good. Knowing things is not bad. Okay, knowing things is not bad. So as I said, this is runtime execution. This will be a little bit problematic because the order should be same. If the order disturbs, then everything will be disturbed. I'll use this program in the next class, in the next concept, where I'm going to show crew data. In that case, the order will be same, so this will be easy. Okay, this is it for now. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new. Next class will be about crew statistics, crew data and crew statistics, and also I'll show you a tool, very important tool for like using showing UI in Unity. Basically, if you see here, if I execute this program, there will be no problems for now, but there is a bezel on top, right? This bezel will be a problem when you are showing UI. So the safe area will help you to avoid those bezels. So I'll show you how to use that in the next class. In the next video, I'll show you what is safe area and how to use safe area and how to show crew stats and all that. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.